I'm actually here to pitch a new drink. My name's Rohit. I'm here to pitch a new drink. It's called the Rojito. It's a $1 billion valuation on the drink. And I'm going to tell you all about it. I haven't sold any, but it's got a $1 billion market valuation. We'll have a chat after that. After the session, anyone want to have a chat with me? Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Rohit Sachdev. I'm the managing director of Soho Hospitality, based out of Bangkok, Thailand. I feel very privileged to have been speaking here for a couple of years now, and I'm sort of the representative of what's happening in Asia and Asia Pacific. As you all know, the Dolce Vita at some point was in the Americas and Europe, and then now it came into the Middle East, and I'm proud to say that I think the Dolce Vita now is in Asia and Asia Pacific, and I'm very proud to represent and talk to you a little bit about what's going on and give you my perspective from that region. We own and operate four very successful concepts, including a Peruvian-Japanese rooftop bar, a Indian restaurant called Charcoal, Cuban secret bar called Havana Social, and an Italian trattoria. We're also proud to say that through our relationships with this conference, we will be bringing our rooftop concept to Dubai. One of the real exciting things that keeps me up at night and that I'm very interested in is really the evolution of consumer behavior and how the cycles of that evolution are going on at such rapid speeds that it's almost a challenge for us as consumers and restaurateurs to keep abreast. And one of the things that we've seen is the emergence of new and emerging demographics and sub-demographics, and there's all these acronyms and names coming for some of these emerging demographics. And for us in Asia and Asia Pacific, what we're most excited about and what we see happening is really the emergence of this enormous middle class, right? We've got this, you look in India and China, and I was looking at some spending statistics in terms of consumer spending within Asia and Asia Pacific. We're talking about spending in 2009, spending was at like $4.9 trillion. In 2030, that spending is going to $32.9 trillion. So it's an enormous market. And as we look at what concepts we're going to create in the future, we're always looking for inclusive concepts and not exclusive concepts. But the great excitement about that is the great distribution of wealth, right? Before what was hot was really the products for the few, for those products that we were creating for the affluent, and now it's really the transformation has really gone from looking at the affluent, but now more focused on the middle class. And what's really exciting also is that we're going from marketing our products and services not to groups anymore, but we're starting to market our services to the individual. And that's really, really exciting. And based on that, we've seen, I was at HICSA, where Bob was talking about a hotel conference that I was at recently in Mumbai, and they were showing these tons of new and emerging brands that are coming up to cater to that sub-demographic or that individual. And at the same time, we're seeing that in restaurants as well, right? As there's consolidation happening in the hotel industry, which we're all interested in terms of Marriott and Starwood, we're also seeing a lot of entrepreneurship in the industry, and that's really, really exciting, not only in the restaurant space, but in the hotel space as well. And with that entrepreneurship comes tons of new applications, technology. We're also seeing the growth of the digital marketing, and we've all talked about that all week in terms of the impact of digital marketing in terms of what we're doing. And that's really going to have an impact in terms of how things progress going forward. At our company, we now we've got 200 employees. We've got a very profitable business. Over the last 15 months, I've not had a PR company represent us because I didn't think they understood where the business was going. And I think PR has changed dramatically over the last few years. And so we've been without a PR company for the last 15 months. For the last 15 months, we've not put in one advertised We've not engaged any traditional advertising. We have no ads in magazines, and we're primarily focused on reaching digital consumers effectively. So it really comes to the question we need to ask ourselves, what is the role of traditional marketing? What is the role of PR as we go into the future? So moving forward, I just wanted to talk to you about, we're talking about the digital landscape and what's actually happening. But these are numbers recently released in the market in terms of how many monthly active users we're talking about in terms of social media. Facebook recently announced 1.86 billion users. It's a huge increase over what they had last year. WhatsApp is now 1.2 billion active users. Facebook Messenger, 400 million users. And Instagram, 600 million. These numbers are growing exponentially, right? So when we look at how we want to reach our consumers and the best way to reach them, these are staggering numbers to show us about where things are going. Growth of messaging apps. Messaging will become the de facto way of communicating. WeChat in China has 818 million monthly active users. During Chinese New Year this year, there were 47 billion red envelopes exchanged between Chinese users of WeChat. So this is kind of showing, and in the future, it's not going to be only peer-to-peer, but it's businesses and restaurants are going to be having to communicate with their consumers using messaging technology. So what else is big? Video. Video is huge, and there's a significant amount of, static content doesn't mean anything anymore. As a company, we're rolling out new videos on different sorts of contents of our restaurant every week, and the reason is because of the effectiveness of video marketing. So we have Snapchat is doing 10 billion daily views. Video views, Facebook has got 8 billion, and YouTube has 4 billion. So this is just the kind of enormous amount of numbers. I think in Facebook, video views per day is at 8 billion views per day altogether. So again, this is really, and to show you how important video is becoming in terms of content creation. And the reason for that is because the human brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text. And I wanted to share with you an experience that we had in one of our venues. We opened a Cuban bar that I talked about last time called Havana Social. And it's a Cuban bar that we opened in Bangkok. It's a secret bar. The way you enter it is into a public telephone booth. And and it's a 1940s Cuban bar. By the third week that we opened, somebody did a video of them walking into our venue. I want to show you this video, and I'm going to tell you the amazing results that this video got. There's a guy walking down this dark alley. So that video, basically, let me go back. That video, within 24 hours, got 98,000 views, 2,100 likes, 970 comments of every friend tagging their other friend, and then we got 1,218 shares. I canceled my opening party, and I was basically live for business. And this is just to show you, with a free video. Of course, I treated the guy to dinner, sent him a bottle of Dom Perignon and all that. But the value, this is a value of something that's organically been posted. I had nothing to do with it, and the impact was enormous, and we've never looked back. We got our money within 8 months of launching this business. Just wanted to show you also the growth of Instagram bloggers. We invited an Instagrammer. We paid him 400 dirhams to do a video, and he did a video of making a tiramisu. It was actually a terrible video. And eventually got 622,000 views within 3 days. So this is kind of showing you the power of social media. If you had an ad in a magazine, you would never get that far, I'm sure. Some of the other concepts that are becoming much more prevalent in Asia as well is the whole drive towards vegetarian, organic food. But the problem in Asia is still, it's difficult for us to pass on those costs to the consumers. But where we are seeing this happening and where we are seeing this starting with is with mothers with their newborns and the food that they're feeding them. And we expect that over the next few years, there will be the affordability where we can pass some of those costs. But right now, it's still very much cost prohibitive. We're seeing a growth in the female economy in Asia. Women now are driving the world economy. Over $20 trillion in annual consumer spending, growing to $28 trillion in the next 5 years. We're calling them the chief purchasing officers of their families. These are the women that we need, these are the consumers that we need to target with our products and services, especially in terms of food. I'm going to make this big call. I'm calling it the death of the all-day dining. The all-day dining is finally over. It's got to be put, rest in peace. All-day dinings are very, very much generic. They're not working anymore. They provide great breakfast revenues, but after breakfast, nobody wants to go there. The fact that they're just called an ADD and there's an acronym to define the space just means that it's got to go. We did a great thing in Thailand where we took our all-day dining, converted it into a restaurant, Indian restaurant, specialty restaurant, and we serve breakfast there. Revenues are up 10 times what it was in a normal all-day dining restaurant. So it has been done, and it has been done successfully. We've got a lot of technology and tools coming up, but the big problem that we have in terms of technology is there's a lot of integration between various different types of apps that are in the market. And because of that integration process, we're losing access to critical data. And in the future, the companies that will do well are the ones that can successfully integrate those disparate data and be able to leverage that data, because we're only as good as the usage of the data that we're able to collect. We've got online reservations and table management, tons of tools out there. We've recently partnered with Chope as an online table management tool, and we did 1,200 bookings in 3 months, like 400 bookings per month by partnering with these online technologies. So there's a lot of technologies out there in which you can leverage, which can drive business. And also one of the things we're very interested about is, just like the hotel rooms did with yield management in terms of their rooms, we need to start doing yield and revenue management in terms of our seats, the seats in our restaurants, and how we can make better revenues per seat, how we can create more turns, and how we can make sure that all our seats are yielding and maximizing yield for the restaurant. We've also got the growth of the shared economy. A lot of the millennials today are no longer looking at the ownership of products, but they're looking more for accessibility, and that's becoming a huge thing. And that's what's been the driver for applications like Uber, Airbnb, and we're going to start seeing this happening, and these types of disruptions have a great potential to impact not only other businesses, but our restaurant business as well. And these are the tons of goods and services that are now part of the shared economy and causing disruptions in the economy. So one of the biggest things, and this is going to be a precedent to our next panel, and I think it's going to be a huge disruptor in the restaurant business, is the market for food delivery services. I don't know if you know, but you probably have noticed there's been a lot of activity going on globally in the food delivery business. We're all really wondering what's going on. Why is everybody wanting to get into this business? And it was really interesting as I was putting this together and looking at really how big this market really is. And the market for food delivery today stands at 83 billion euros. But it's surprisingly enough, with 83 billion euros only represents 1% of the total food market, and it only represents also only 4% of the total market for restaurants and fast food outlets in the world. So a lot of us are thinking that this market is already reached its maturity, but let me tell you guys, this is a huge disruptor in the restaurant industry. It has the potential to impact our revenues both positively or perhaps negatively. And I was recently negotiating a contract with one of the companies, and they basically, after negotiating with them, they ended up charging me 28%. This is Food Panda in Bangkok for one of my affordable casual Italian restaurants. And I was baffled at, how am I going to pay 28% for somebody just to come and pick up my food and deliver it? But in cities like Bangkok, New Delhi, Beijing, Jakarta, cities where you're commuting 2 to 4 hours every way to get to the office, I have a feeling that as these millennials are opting to stay in, use their phones, and get the food delivered to their homes, I have a feeling that this business is going to dramatically disrupt what we're doing. And I think as part of this upcoming panel session on food delivery, we're going to find out if they're a friend or a foe.